Kingperior going to send back out Houndoom. We're going to see him over farm before firing off the flamethrower, removing Venusaur from the field of play. Houndoom with residual energy, good to go. Out comes Gallade Crunch. Not normally the hardest hitting move, but this is a Shadow Houndoom. Welcome back to the channel. Unfortunately, Ultra League is leaving us, but we've got time for one more shoutcast, especially when it's as crazy as this one. Today's featured battler, Kingperior. On the day he played these battles, he really must have woke up and chose violence, because look at these movesets. We've got absolutely no baits anywhere. We are straight nuking. The only Pokemon on the team that we could call somewhat meta would be Shadow Nidoqueen. Everyone's favourite Poison Fang spammer. However, Kingperior is like, nah, Poison Fang's not really my playstyle. He's opting for Stone Edge instead. Next up, we've got Nidoking. A Pokemon you don't see all that often, but when you do, it normally always has Sand Tomb, the ability to debuff people's defense. Again, Kingperior is like, nah, that's not really for me. He's opting for megahorn for coverage. Then we've got the star of the show, Shadow Houndoom. This Pokemon is insanely attack weighted. How attack weighted, I hear you ask? Well, that's a great question. Very, very attack weighted. Glass cannon, such as Gallade and Greninja, cannot compare to this attack stat. Of course, other Pokemon, some of my favourites like Moltres and Zapdos, also have a far lower attack stat, meaning Houndoom's damage output is absurd. Before we get into today's video, I'm going to ask a favour for you all. If you all like my trash talking commentary, do me a favour and smash that like button. Apparently YouTube now isn't a fan of my videos and they've demonetised 4 of them this week, which is pretty brutal because I put a lot of time and effort into the channel. With that being said, without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, Kingperior leads Houndoom into Poliwrath. Yeah, that's a yikes. If I ever did see one, we see the save switch into Nidoking, baiting out Auroras. Auroras will need to respect the earth power or get one shot. Boo. The opponent does respect the damage, which is sad to see. Nidoking, also somewhat of a glass cannon, very glassy in its shadow form, unable to survive the weather wall, and the opponent does commit to the powder snow farm down. Back out comes Houndoom. Houndoom fires off the Crunch. Crunch lands for massive damage. However, we are going to have to respect a potential Meteor Beam. The opponent falls into the Meteor Beam. This should allow Houndoom to get the full snarl down, with the opponent only reaching a Weather Ball. This Weather Ball is 1 stage boosted and still does a lot. Houndoom already finds itself down to around a third health. We see the instant pivot into Nidoqueen and out comes Kanto Mark. Nidoqueen, with no ability to bait, just full sending the Earth Power. The opponent correctly shields the Earth Power, but Nidoqueen looking primed to sweep. At worst, this will be a Dark Pulse, and Nidoqueen easily withstands the damage. Kingperior once again looking to farm up, throw the next Earth Power. High mark, bye mark. I have a very sneaky feeling that today's video is going to be packed full of big booms. Back out comes Poliwrath. Kingperior going to block up the incoming Icy Wind. With the debuff, this Earth Power won't be lethal, but will still rock them. Quite low on HP. Earth Power gets them into the red. A cheeky Wham Bam combo play, pivot back out into Houndoom, and the Crunch is going to secure the dub. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle. Another Kanto Mark sighting. I really rate Kanto Mark in Ultra League. I think it's quite a sleeper pick. However, we've got 2 better responses in the back, so we see the save switch into Nidoking, baiting out Swampert. I've just realised we're triple weak to ground. How do we deal with this threat? We shield up the Hydro Cannon, attempt to YOLO the Earth Power through 2 Protect Shields. People are like, nah. I'm going to respect the damage, and we find ourselves in the 1-to-1 shield. It looks like it's going to be very much a team effort to remove Swampert. We send back out Houndoom, fire off the Crunch. The opponent invests their final Protect Shield, looking to get ours. Kingperior happy to oblige. He can now throw 3 snarls before firing off the Crunch, removing Swampert from the field of play and having a small amount of residual energy good to go. Crunch picks up the knockout. We see the instant pivot into Nidoqueen and out comes Zard. Oh boy, big boom incoming. If this Charizard don't know about our rock type coverage, they just found out. Get that Charizard off my screen. We're already in shambles. The opponent fire off the BM Sludge Wave. Nidoqueen gonna reach the Earth Power and land back-to-back booms to end that battle. GG's. YouTube, you might have removed my revenue. However, I'm still having fun. So who's the real winner here? In the next battle, we see Houndoom into Cresselia. If the opponent's got Moonblast, which they likely do, it's going to land for some heavy neutral damage as Houndoom is insanely glassy. Kingperior, like an absolute savage, calls the grass not bait, and we see the pivot into Regirock. We fire off the Crunch. It looks like we're continuing to stay in. Kingperior going to shield up the incoming Stone Edge. I'm not entirely sure why we didn't pivot into one of our ground types. We eventually do pivot out into Nidoqueen, and unless this thing has Legacy Earthquake, we fully wall them. I was actually waiting to say a no shot. Luckily, it wasn't an Earthquake. The opponent likely has Stone Edge and Focus Blast. The opponent just continuing to throw Stone Edge after Stone Edge. Switch Timer pops up. They send back out Cresselia. Cresselia greeted with the Earth Power, and Earth Power rocks them below half health. The opponent continuing to farm up energy, allow Nidoqueen to reach the second Earth Power, removing Cresselia straight up from the battlefield. We then see the pivot into Nidoking. Nidoking also shares the exact same type as Nidoqueen, so doesn't care about any of these moves. Although in fairness, we're a lot classier and that Stone Edge did quite a lot. The opponent's final Pokemon is Virizion, and I have no idea why they haven't top left yet. Kingperior fires off the Earth Power, fishing for the defense drop, which we don't get. Megahorn, of course, would be the way to go if shields are down, as it would hit for neutral. However, we force both Protect Shields, serving up that Big Mac and the fries with their Flame Thrower, picking up the one-hit KO. Oh man, this is going to be by far my most shambolic commentary of the season so far. In the next battle, we see Houndoom into Giratina. The opponent save switches into Gabalion. We fire off the Flamethrower, which goes... Oh, shielded. Kingperior held his composure far greater than me. Was then able to catch the Sacred Sword onto Nidoking. Nidoking completely walls Cobalion, as they usually run Sacred Sword and Stone Edge for coverage. The opponent fires off one further Sacred Sword. Nidoking holds strong, farms up, fires off the Earth Power, picking up that one-hit KO. Bulky Meta Beast getting one shot left, right and centre today. Back out comes Giratina. Giratina fires off the Dragon Claw, securing the knockout. We send back out Houndoom, and out comes Drapion. We bank the crunch and then send out Nidoqueen. Does this Drapion have Aqua Tail? Well, we're going to have to wait a bit longer to find out. The opponent fires off the crunch the first time. Kingperior goes for the correct player, never shielding the first move, as crunch does have a 30% chance to debuff your defense. Kingperior then overfires before firing off the Earth Power, looking for that one-hit KO. The opponent invests that Protect Shield, but they're going to be unable to Poison Sting farm down. Kingperior putting all his hopes and dreams on the back of a two-shielded Houndoom, and I think we're probably in danger of getting quick move beat down. Kingperior fires off the Flamethrower. Flamethrower picks up the knockout. The win con for the opponent is just straight Shadow Claw farming us down. We reach the first crunch. The opponent insanely low. They opt to throw, and that is going to seal their fate. The reason they shouldn't throw is every time you throw, we're going to sneak turns. Houndoom going to be able to just about snarl farm down, and we emerge victorious in a very, very close game. GG's. In the next battle, we see Melmetal in the lead. Arguably two better responses in the back. The opponent save switches into Swampert, and we see a problem emerge. Kingperior fires off the crunch, forcing us early shield advantage. Kingperior definitely going to need to shield here, as his Hydro Cannon would probably kill this Houndoom and every Houndoom that's ever existed. Kingperior then returns fire with the next crunch, forcing the opponent all shields down. Can we even reach another crunch? These Mud Shots are doing absurd damage. Mud Shot did get a buff this season, slash nerf. It now does more damage for less energy. So in this matchup, it's very nice for the opponent. However, Houndoom able to win the 2-shield. Charizard temporarily makes an appearance before Melmetal re-enters the battlefield. Unless this opponent's on Flash Cannon or Double Iron Bash, we're going to fully wall the opponent. They throw the Superpower. Kingperior happy to tank both and just look to farm up as much energy as he physically can. We're actually going for the Megahorn here, and I imagine this is because he wants to farm down with Nidoqueen and look to get the Stone Edge ready. The opponent fires off one further charge move. Superpower picks up the knockout. We send out Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen does get that running start. You already know this Charizard is about to get boomed, or we go for a very risky catch, perhaps quite unnecessary, but luckily this isn't a Shadow Zard, so one Blast Burn won't quite be lethal, although it's still very close, and Stone Edge is going to pick up that one-hit KO. GG's. In the next battle, we see XL Wigglytuff. Ruffy and Romeo, is this you, buddy? Again, we see Swampert enter the battlefield. Never fantastic unless we can sneak this nuke through 2 Protect Shields. Why is everyone shielding? Oh man, it's so hard to have some fun sometimes in the Go Battle League, especially when people are putting up shields left, right and centre. Kingperior now sends back out Houndoom, which also isn't going to appreciate this new variant of Mud Shot, where these Mud Shots are doing so much damage. It looks more like Mud Slaps to a normal Pokemon. We fire off the crunch, the opponent invest their final Protect Shield, and they're going to be able to outpace the next Hydro Cannon. Kingperior now finds himself all shields down. We're going to fire off the crunch, finally removing Swampert from the field of play, and we're going to see the instant pivot into Nidoqueen. The opponent sends out Charizard, then concede the match. That is so rude. Unless they got the Discord bot. How did they know we had Stone Edge? I really wanted to see it land, but it wasn't meant to be. Heading into the next battle. We see Houndoom. Oh boy. Into Ceruledge, an insanely spicy pick. The opponent safe switches into Lugia. We bank a charge and we then send out Nidoqueen, which potentially means they can outpace to an Aeroblast. We see the instant no shield deployed. Or a Hydro Pump. What is going on today? We just got Hydro Pump to the face. I definitely did not see that one coming. I think Kingperior should definitely use a shield here. The opponent fires off the Aeroblast. Aeroblast, Hydro Pump. And there's me thinking we're running nukes. The opponent sends out Metagross, get absolutely one shot. Sometimes I have no words. And this battle is one of them occasions where I'm just going to let it play. And you can see what's happening because I am completely lost for words. I thought we were running nukes and a spicy team. But this opponent has an even spicier team than us. However, Houndoom is able to get the job done with Kingperior emerging in the Battle of Spice victorious. GG's to both trainers. Very fun team. In the next battle, we see another problem for the team. Although that's not too difficult, as we're triple weak to water and triple weak to ground, so quite a few Pokemon will cause us problems. Kingperior shields up the Liquidation, then throws one Snarl and the Flamethrower for optimal fast move timing. Flamethrower, which only hits for neutral, does massive damage. We attempt to snipe with Nidoqueen, baiting out Excadrill. Oh gosh, what is this team from the opponent? There's Spice left, right and centre. Finally we land the nuke through 2 Protect Shields. Out comes Hisuian Decidueye, a very cool pick from the opponent. I recently saw Callum showcase this thing, as it recently got access to Nightshade. So it's been buffed, I suppose. We send out Houndoom, fire off the crunch, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. And we're just going to save our own final Protect Shield for Nidoking. The opponent had access to Aura Spear, which would have one-shot us, but they're actually on Aerial Ace. Kingperior tanks the Aerial Ace Nidoking, commits the Poison Jab farm down. Back out comes Gliscopod. We're just going to have to shield this move up, Poison Jab farm down everything, and take that game. In the next battle, we see Houndoom into Trevenant. What a lead. The opponent petrified, pivot into Poliwrath, and here comes Nidoqueen. This has always been a pretty neutral matchup. Has greatly improved for Nidoqueen due to Poliwrath's lack of pacing this season, as counter has been nerfed, meaning it now takes 9 to the first gold, which is absurdly slow, 18 turns. Despite this, Poliwrath still has play, as you can see, is able to win the Zero Shield, knocking out Nidoqueen, but we've left him in perfect farm down range for Nidoking to come in and get a very cheeky running start. We send out Nidoking, get a free Poison Jab running start. If Trevenant returns, I want to see that Megahorn land. Back out comes Trevenant. Do they know? Because if they don't know, they're about to find out. This is only a neutral move. Will it one-shot? Oh, so close. We see Kingperior, Investor Protection. I agree with that, players. It's better to have 2 versus 1. Out comes Gator. That is a huge problem for us. We fire off the crunch, forcing the opponent's first protection. We're then able to reach the next crunch on what looks like to be a CMP tie. The opponent tanks the damage. Trainer, Shadow on Shadow Crime. You can't tank a move from Houndoom. Hydro Cannon secures the knockout. 1 Poison Jab. Knocks out Gator. A couple of Poison Jabs. Knock out Trevenant. And we take that game. In the next battle, we see Shadow on Shadow Crime. And that looks like a very small Dragonite as well. We say switch into Nidoking. Our Nidoking say switch is met by Poliwrath, which is by no means a good response, especially behind an energy. We fire off the Earth Power, Earth Power. Near gets the 1-hit KO. Unfortunately, Poliwrath able to reach the Icy Wind. Icy Wind, despite not getting same type attack bonus, does secure the knockout. I'll be honest, I would have been half tempted to shield there, just to flip that god-awful opening matchup. Although as I say that, the opponent opts to send out Dragonite anyway, which is kind of good for us, but potentially bad, as Dragonite often comes with double water. As the opponent has 2 shields up, we throw the Earth Power, fishing for that defense drop. The opponent invests that Protect Shield, then send out Mark. We are full sending. Does the opponent respect the damage? Earth Power! Boo, go shielded. Kingperior stays in, looking to force the energy, which I like. The opponent actually throws the Acid Spray, which doesn't knock out, so we then see the pivot into Houndoom. Oh boy, I see the wink on here. We just got to shield this up, farm up to 100 energy. Then we've got a Flamethrower and a Crunch Bank. Flamethrower will be knocking out Mark, and even if Dragonite has the move bank, they might think they're attack weighted, but we win CMP, and Crunch is going to be all she wrote. Beautiful energy management there. Great game. GG's. Heading into the next battle, we'll lead Shadow Houndoom into Gator. We managed to beat the last one, but this thing is a massive problem for us. It's kind of ironic that our neutral snarls are doing less than their resisted Shadow Claws. That tells you just how glassy Houndoom is. We shield up the Hydro Cannon and return fire with the Crunch, forcing a shield back. Kingperior able to reach the next Crunch on the charge attack priority or a cap tie. No, we're going with charge attack priority. I'm never working for play Pokemon. Kingperior lands the Crunch, then looking for that Snarl farm down, which we don't quite get. The opponent had the move, which they didn't throw. They got sniped, dying with a Hydro Cannon, and out comes Venusaur. Kingperior able to fire off the Earth Power one. Looks like to be yet another CMP tie. Earth Power forces the final protection. This is like best case scenario. Frenzy Plant doesn't quite knock us out. I'm unsure if that was undercharged, to be honest, as I was quite surprised we survived that. Kingperior sends back out Houndoom. He throws 3 Snarls and the Flamethrower. Flamethrower gonna be massive overkill. Get that Venusaur off my screen. The opponent's final Pokemon is Skeledirge. Crunch, usually not the hardest hitting move, but Shadow Houndoom hits like a truck. Crunch, near one shot and 1 Snarl is able to take that game. Houndoom popping off. Let's go. Heading into the next battle, Houndoom into Venusaur. A beautiful lead for us. The opponent say switches into Waterfall Gary. Well, that's a core breaker if I ever did see one. To this point in the video, we kind of managed to work our way around being triple weak to water, because the 2 most common water types, Tentacruel, uses Poison Jab, and of course Gator uses Shadow Claw, meaning they're not hitting us for super effective. The opponent shields up the Stone Edge, commit to the full Waterfall farm down. Oh man, these Waterfalls have already chunked our Nidoking. The opponent fires off the Crunch. We're already below half health. Back out comes Venusaur. We really need this Earth Power to pick up the 1-hit KO. It doesn't quite do it. We then pivot into Houndoom. Holy cow, there's a get out of jail free card. Out comes Skeledirge. Skeledirge shields the first Crunch, which is never what you want to do. We throw 3 further Snarls, which should put them into Crunch range. Crunch picks up the knockout, and I cannot quite believe it, but Kingperior is going to emerge victorious, with Houndoom being the MVP. GG's. Heading into the next battle, we're going to lead our Shadow Houndoom into Shadow Machamp. Oh boy, that is awful. We say switch into Nidoking. I'm not entirely sure why the opponent's going for the chip and dip, as everything is resisted, although in fairness, that did do a fair amount of damage. The opponent gives us a huge energy lead and then send out Gator. We fire off the Earth Power, forcing us early shield advantage. We see the instant no shield deployed from Kingperior. He says, Nidoking, thank you very much for your contribution. And then we send back out Houndoom. Houndoom going to be putting up that Protect Shield, blocking up the incoming Hydro Cannon. He's then going to overfarm before firing off the Crunch. If this goes unshielded, we need to get out ASAP. The opponent actually invests that Protect Shield, then do us a favour, sending back out Machamp, and this is free farm. Unless they've got payback, everything is going to be resisted. The opponent fires off the cross shot, then fire off yet another cross shot. To be fair, Shadow and Shadow Chrome, they are adding up, but Nidoqueen is going to Poison Jab farm down and leave with all the energy in the world. The opponent sends out Cresselia. Cresselia instantly greeted with the Earth Power. Earth Power doesn't do too much, to be honest. Let's not get excited, as Cresselia has around 10 bazillion HP. I love this play from Kingperior. He continues to farm up, looking to force some energy off Cresselia. He's then going to send back out Houndoom, over farm, before firing off the Crunch. Crunch knocks out Cresselia. We're going to be able to outpace Gator before they double up, reaching 1 further Crunch, and Houndoom once again sweeps the back line. GG's. Unfortunately, heading into the final battle of today's Shoutcast, which without a doubt is probably the craziest one of the season. We see a fantastic lead. The opponent say switches into Nidoqueen. We try our luck catching a Poison Fang on our own Queen unsuccessfully. We then still look to call the bait. The opponent full sends the Earth Power. Nidoqueen holds strong, tanking the damage, then returns fire with its own Earth Power, forcing us shield advantage. The opponent gets a massive Poison Jab farm down, and we haven't really got any good way of soaking up this energy. We send out Nidoking, anticipating the opponent blind throwing the Poison Fang. Well, that's a good start. The opponent then gives up switch, sending back out the balloon, and we respond with Houndoom. Houndoom not messing around, going straight for the Crunch. Crunch almost picks up the 1-hit KO. We're able to Snarl farm down before they reach a charge move, and we leave with a whole heap of residual energy. Back out comes Nidoqueen. We fire off the Flamethrower. Flamethrower goes unshielded, picking up the knockout, And out comes Gator. Gator looking for that resisted. Shadow Claw farm down, but Houndoom still popping off. Reaches the crunch, which goes unshielded. We're going to be able to Poison Jab farm down and emerge victorious. GG's. Huge shout out to kingperior for an absolutely bananas battle submission. I was in shambles for pretty much the majority, but my god was that fun. This team is incredibly spicy. We had so many unsuspecting nukes land and that was a lot of fun. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing if you'd like your battles featured on my channel. A link to our battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching. And I'll see you all in the next one.